They assassinated their entire audience at the stroke of midnight. I was the only survivor. Sex and drugs saved my life. If you're into death metal music, then you're probably a big fan of Murder. See, they come from Scandinavia, and their following is ridiculous. How Ricky, the manager of Dive Bar, that's actually the bar's name, managed to book them is beyond me, but he did. He's dead because of it. My city is still in full lockdown. I've been out of work for almost a year, same as my boss Ricky, so when I got the call from him a week before Christmas, it came as a surprise. "Brandon, my man, what you been up to?" He didn't wait for an answer. Good. Now listen, I didn't want to text you this and have you screw it up, so I called instead. I hope that's all right. Same old Ricky. I need your band to play a secret staff Christmas party at the Dive Bar. You'll be performing in the basement. That way, no one will hear or see anything. You good? This time, he waited for a reply. Yeah, I'll have to check with the band, but yeah. I checked. The band was happy to play. My band is called SSIK, and this was our first gig in 9 months. Needless to say, we had a blast. After the show, Ricky pulled me into his smoky little office and asked if SSIK was interested in playing a private party for New Year's Eve, opening for Murder. Murder? Hell yeah. What could possibly go wrong? Murder brought a guillotine. It was the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life. It was silver and sharp and, dare I say, sexy in a medieval torture kind of way. They also brought a 13-person road crew who took 12 hours to set up for the show. The band and their crew refused to speak to anyone, and when they did, they spoke Scandinavian, so no one understood what they were saying. It didn't matter, because, well, they were Murder. What could possibly go wrong? 100 people squeezed into the Dive Bar basement for a killer New Year's Eve show. Literally. SSIK's set went off without a hitch. I sang, well, I screamed, better than I'd ever screamed in my life. We even did an encore. Then came Murder. Typically, when a band uses a fog machine, they don't poison the crowd with the stuff, but Murder did. They emptied 3 full canisters as they hit the stage. One woman, dressed in a black crushed velvet dress, dropped dead right away. She was sitting on the leather couch in the corner, clutching her asthma puffer. Nobody noticed until the cops came an hour and a half later. And by then, the dive bar looked like a scene from the goriest horror movie ever made. I'll let you pick which one. Murder wore black leather gear. They had long black hair and faces painted like demons. I was impressed. Their singer had metal studs pierced over his entire body and a bloody pentagram stitched into his bare chest. They opened their set with the most popular song, Crushed Corpse. Then a roadie handed the singer a large samurai sword. The audience wowed. The drummer kicked into the second song. The singer, brandishing the colossal silver sword, pulled some dude on stage, everyone cheered, and the dude started headbanging, clearly enjoying himself, oblivious to his gruesome fate. During what must have been the chorus of the song, the singer swung the sword and cut the dude's head off. The crowd erupted. Amazing special effects. Wow. Except it wasn't special effects. It was real. I was standing on the side of the stage, watching as the dead dude's head rolled clumsily to my feet. Blood and brains and bones spewed everywhere. It was revolting. Stupidly, remember, it was New Year's Eve. I just performed and I was getting paid in alcohol, so I was extremely drunk, and I kicked the severed head into the audience, who proceeded to knock it around like a beach ball. The singer kept shouting orders at the crowd. The crowd clung to his every word. I had a sobering moment. I realized just how depraved these people had become, with so much pent-up stress being released all at once. These people were out of their minds. Everyone wanted to be rid of 2020 as quickly as possible. If only they knew what Murder was planning for them. I searched for Ricky, who was behind the bar serving drinks. The line-up to the bar was ridiculous. I convinced myself nothing was wrong. Murder, following in the traditions of Alice Cooper, Guar, and Slipknot, were merely putting on an elaborate show with plenty of shock value. It was all part of the show, for fun for the whole family. And then came the guillotine. The crowd was bloodthirsty. The singer requested a volunteer. A sexy, middle-aged woman jumped on stage. She had wild, frizzy red hair, a tight black dress, and Doc Marten boots. I knew her. Her name was Brenda. The singer slapped her, gagged her, tied her arms with rope, and shoved her head under the blade. The crowd was murderous. They were chanting, "Off with her head, off with her head." All eyes remained on the guillotine. The drummer started a long, speedy drum roll, and first quiet, then louder and louder. The bassist started an evil-sounding groove. The guitarist joined in. It was the most horrible song I'd ever heard. The music got louder and louder, rising into a frenzy, then whack! Down came the blade. Brenda's decapitated head rolled to the front of the stage. Her lifeless body twitched, then went still. The singer jumped off the speaker, picked up her severed head, and waved it high as though it were his trophy. Then he tossed it into the crowd. And I guess two heads are better than one. While Brenda's ghastly head was quickly being pulverized, her lifeless blue eyes remained open. Apparently, she wanted to watch the remainder of the show. Still, no one flinched. I knew this wasn't an act, but I was too drunk to do anything about it. Plus I was in shock. I just wanted to leave. Murder carried on. Their volume was deafening. I checked the time. It was almost midnight. The bassist, who looked like Gene Simmons, but somehow uglier, crept closer and closer to the crowd. His bass was shaped like an axe, and the singer pulled another guy on stage, tossed him towards the bassist who, unless my eyes deceived me, used his bass as a battle axe to cut the man's stomach open. Blood and guts spilled out all over the sticky stage. Even over the incredible noise, I heard the man's final scream. His dead hands were making the devil horn signal. It was like a scene from Metalocalypse. I felt like I was tripping on bad acid. The singer reached into the dead man's intestines and pulled out a handful of stringy red goop. And by this time, people were rushing onto the stage like savage idiots. The singer smeared guts all over one woman's face, and she licked her face with her long, putrid tongue, her teeth immediately turning cherry red, and the delight on the singer's face was undeniable. The music carried on. Now it was the guitarist's turn. He took his patch cord and used it to strangle an audience member, wrapping the long black cord around some guy's neck until it snapped. I watched in horror as his eyes bulged out of his head. His face turned bright red, then blue, then a ghostly white. The guitarist tossed the fresh corpse off the stage, back into the crowd, who then ripped the body to shreds. And by now, some people were beginning to panic. Very precious few. The drummer started slinging his drumsticks into the crowd like spears. There must have been razor blades shoved into them, because I saw a drumstick sticking out of some college girl's eye. She freaked out. With both her hands, she pried it out of her head, taking the eyeball with it in the process. The girl next to her snatched the eyeball and took a bite. It must have tasted awful, because she immediately spat it out. Terrified and confused, and I escaped to the restroom, only to discover two gorgeous goth chicks doing lines off each other's breasts in the washroom stall. And this is clearly the best part of the evening, because they showed me the hell of a good time before they retreated to the front of the stage, just in time for Murder's grand finale. The smell of the stall was inexcusable. I waited. Then I heard the screaming. I knew this was it. The countdown to 2021. The coke sobered me up enough to call 911, but it was too late. The fun had already begun. The band stopped at 11:59. The singer, standing at the front of the stage, pulled out his iPhone and started going live. The audience went berserk. Using broken English, he began the countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I stayed hidden in the stall and listened to the machine gun frenzy. It was the sound of 100 people being executed. Murder's road crew had blocked off all the exits. The audience was trapped, and after a minute of non-stop gunfire, the doomed audience was dead. The singer then turned the gun onto his bandmates and the crew, and then finally, on himself. Everyone died but me. I did another bump in the stinky stall and laughed, despite myself. Sex and drugs just saved my life. Hey there kids, it's me, MrCreepyPasta. I wanted to say thank you for watching tonight's video or listening to tonight's podcast episode, and also wanted to let you know that if you're interested in getting some Dungeons & Dragons, Creepypasta, or many other things themed tea, you can always check out my wife's tea shop at etsy.com/shop/ivorymonocletea. And I want to give a very special thank you to all of you who support me on Patreon, because quite honestly, you guys help me keep the lights on in my house, and I can't thank you enough for that. A very special thank you to Jordan Alexander Sanchez, Ken Lando Higuchi, Chompski, Bobby Karman, Nico Kaeo, Tristain Pelton, Chase Burnett, Deanna Kraus, G Weevil 3, Chris Lovin, Freddie Kruger, Dr. Stein and Mr. Happy, Miranda Jeffries, Hugungshi, Justin Johnson, Raven Hart, Unknown Nobody, Michael Scharbrough, Kazan, ThisIsMyRealNameNoShit, Jason VB Wilson, InfernalOne, JimboTheHutt, Caspian, Jordan Nells, Hades' Nephew, Jordan Wayne Deckard, AcidSystem, Prozac and Pancake Appreciation Society, Cryptic Nightmares, Someone You Love, S-Man, Kiri the Sloth, Liam Newman, Sky Harbor, Caleb Dougal, Nina Smith, Raphael Rodriguez, The Ginger Bros, Aaron Stormcrow, Daniel Paulson, and Corey Kenshin. Thank you guys so much. Like, seriously, thank you guys so much. And if you would like to be able to join them, you always can at patreon.com/MrCreepyPasta. I love you guys, seriously. All of you who support on Patreon, who follow, who subscribe, those of you who listen, and those of you who lurk. Thank you for the amazing 10 years. And sweet dreams.